And we're back, Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG. Another exciting weekend of racing coming up here in western Wisconsin. You've got the Cooley Go-Kart Raceway starting Friday night. Mississippi Thunder will go for their second week. You've got Crosse Speedway, Mother Nature, stay out of the picture, going to be going for their second week. And the Dells and Toma are going to be throwing some practice nights out there soon enough. So it's going to be a hotbed here, and I mean a hotbed, once we can actually turn into spring and stay away from this winter stuff we've had so far. Our guest in the program goes by the name of Billy Martin. He's out of Madison, Wisconsin, drives the number 60 North Country Contractor Sportsman. How did you get the nickname Dr. Noise? You've got quite a musical background to discuss.
It's a band name. That's pretty much all there is to it. Before I left for Las Vegas, I lived there for a little less than 4 years. I started a musical solo project where I just made music by myself because I play all the instruments, so I did that. And I just came up with that name, and it's like, that'll work, I'll use that. And then I was asked to be in a band in Las Vegas, so I went out there and then just kind of put the project to the side. When the band stopped working out, and I decided to go back to the Dr. Noise thing, and I had some friends on YouTube who had gotten substantially popular in a very short amount of time, so I, with their help, started promoting my music on YouTube, and it's just taken off from there.
What style of music is it that you play?
I play a varying amount of styles, but mostly it's rock music. And that's the easiest way to describe it, because most bands these days, they like to be like, I do this, 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 and this.
Right.
And then they have 3 or 4 subgenres that they think they're in, and then you listen to it, and it's like, you're a rock band. Why don't you just say you're a rock band? So I'm a rock band. That's what I am, a rock band.
Billy Martin, Dr. Noise, joining us on the program this afternoon. And it's kind of interesting, if you look at the median that YouTube has brought. I mean, you've got the gal that sang the song Friday, which is, to me, a terrible, terrible song. 2 million hits, and now she's a star. And I've seen some of the video production work you've done on YouTube, and some of it, the stuff you were doing last fall was hilarious, because it's centered around his house, inside his house, outside the house, a little statue, which became, well, I couldn't wait to see the statue the week after. But you did what a lot of folks are trying to do now. You're really using YouTube as a positive medium.
It's definitely a very useful tool. There's a million different ways to use it too. I mean, there are people who do just the, I'm going to talk to my camera, and everybody loves them for it. But in the same respect, there's probably, 2 million people that try that and get nowhere doing it because they just don't have that niche. And it's very hard to find your niche or that niche. And sometimes I have a video that does really well. I've got a few videos that have 60,000 hits. I've got a few videos that have barely 1,000 hits. It depends what it is and who's watching it, and then how powerful some of the people are who see it, if they like it.
Now, when you have your music, how does that relate into the car racing end of things? There's got to be some similarity somewhere.
I try to intersperse the two. The fans and followers that I have on YouTube, they seem to be interested in the car. Of course, there's a good pile of them that don't, because the group that I came up with is a very nerdy group. And, well, I am too. And most nerds aren't so much racing fans, but, you cross markets all the time, and there's plenty of racing fans that are there. And because of the track, I've got racing fans and friends that watch me now and then share my stuff with other people. And it's weird, because one night I was at the track and heard from about 10 to 20 different people about the video that I made that it was around when logging hit me. I had made the one video that was describing what happened and how much it sucked. And yeah, I heard all over the pits, like, I saw that video, it's a good video. Like, oh, I didn't even know you were watching me, that's cool. So yeah, I mean, they come together more than I thought that they would.
Well, talking about video, we've got some video of Bill Martin on our first night out here at the La Crosse Speedway. The green and white number 16, nice looking car, I like the paint job. You found yourself starting off on the pole next to Ralph Catone, and take us from there, because it was a slow-moving night, not for your competitors, but you.
Yeah, Ralph and I usually have no problem running side by side for what seems like an eternal amount of laps, because our cars are pretty much dead even when I'm on the outside and he's on the inside. As you can see here, not so much the case. Before the race had started, I actually had to get push started because the battery was completely toast. And I have no alternator in the car, therefore immediately had no power. And later on, what I actually found out, when I took the car home, I had also found that one of the spark plug wires had dropped down and hit the manifold and started melting away too. So there's another nice takeaway of the power as the race was going on.
Holy cow.
At the beginning of the race, you know, I was dropping back in a hurry. By the time we got about mid-pack, I was sort of keeping up. At the point the 99 car, he hasn't quite yet spun out, but the 99 car spins out and taps the inside wall. We had a yellow, and when we went back to green, I continued my downward spiral almost completely to last place.
And of course, that night ended with the Gilster brothers, Jimmy Crack Corn and Danny going battle to battle, and of course Jimmy Gilster not only broke the track record qualifying that night, but also ended up winning that race. Rob Mason did come back to finish that race, and even came back out last weekend with a repaired car, but of course we were rained out. Give us your views on this North Country Contractor Sportsman class this year, and I'll say it over and over and over, is wide open. Some look at the points, some don't, but in the back of their minds they still are. Talk to us about your feelings on this very competitive class this year.
I think that there are, at least from a driver's perspective, there's two sections of drivers that are out there. There are the guys who are always up front, and they're always going to be there. They're fast. They have great cars. And then there's a good portion of us who are out there from, you know, mid to tail end of the pack. Every now and then we're up at the front. Sometimes we're not. Last year I was fortunate enough to usually be mid-pack, and then I had a few nights where I finished up front. And I did that with a very, very small amount of money. And really, I think, how do I describe it? I don't think, the guys who are up front all the time, they spend a lot of money to be there. And I came out with a car that we were most certain would never finish better than 8th. And we never expected it to, and then we did twice. And with the amount of money that we spent compared to a lot of the guys who are out there, it was amazing that we were able to do it. And I think it's because the class is as close as it is, because the cars are as close as they are. Like we have the rule this year where the cars that look like late models, no matter what, they have to start at the end of the inversion. That is their punishment, I guess, for driving that car. Personally, I don't care that they drive that, you know, those bodies, but the track prefers that we look like our class, and it's understandable that is wanted. But as we saw on that race, that doesn't really matter. They still get right up to the front, and the reason they're getting up to the front is because they're fast cars.
Well, really quickly, who do you have sponsoring you for 2011?
I have plenty of new sponsors. Wooden Plumbing, who is my stepfather and the one that brings us to the track. He is the main sponsor. My mom's company is actually on the car too, although she's not the one who gave us the money, which is Watco Companies. It's basically a lumber company. Courtesy Car Care, Bagstead's Business is on our car again, and A1 Fire Extinguisher, which is Dave Wiggert's business. And then Johnny's Hobbies came back. He bought us some parts. He was the owner of the car last year. This year, I am the owner of the car. I hope I don't get hit this year.
Well, his name is Dr. Noise, Billy Martin.
And also Ricora. I can't forget Ricora. He's He's another big sponsor. That's my friend Mark.
Number 16, North Country Contractor Sportsman, coming out of Madison, Wisconsin. And it's always a pleasure to talk to him face-to-face and follow his exploits on YouTube, because they are quite entertaining, logical, and sometimes very funny as well. You're going to have to look those up. Talking about YouTube, you can check out this show, youtube.com/7riversracing. I want to remind you, the radio show, AM 580 WKTY, it's a race report with myself every Saturday from 4 until 5. Al, we're going to go back to the track here in a couple of nights. Hopefully it's going to be sunshiny.
That's what we're looking for. We want a very nice weather, very nice racing. That's when it's a lot of fun, and as Chuck said, they're in the fun business.
That's exactly right, and one of those drivers is fun. As our guest today, Bill Martin. Thanks for joining us in the program. For Al Losi, I'm Dan Dyker. We'll see you all over western Wisconsin at racetracks in your backyard, and right back here next week. This is the Seven Rivers Racing Show on KQEG TV.